Mr Deputy President.
Leader of the Opposition.
Mr Deputy President, I lead for the opposition on this bill, and as we did in the other place, we will propose a number of amendments to the legislation. As honourable members will be aware, the government announced in December 2015 that it would seek to introduce an emergency services levy added to council rates to fund fire and emergency services. These services are currently funded through a levy on insurance companies, which then include them in premiums. The government has claimed that by introducing the levy, insurance prices will drop. To guarantee insurance companies pass on the price difference in full, the monitor and the deputy monitor are intended to operation from proclamation of this legislation until the 31st December 2018. It's perhaps no accident that this price monitoring mechanism is due to cut out just short of the next state election. Somewhat cynical, if not short-sighted, approach taken by the present government. The government has not introduced or released any legislative details about the specifics of the new levy, and as the Honourable, the Shadow Treasurer and the other place indicated, the Labor Party, the Labor opposition, remains very sceptical about the emergency services levy that the government intends to introduce. However, the Emergency Services Levy Insurance Monitor Bill, now before this House, is designed for consumer protection, should that levy proceed. But notwithstanding what sounds like good intentions, the short-term nature of the bill deprives it of much of its potential efficacy. So we have, as we did in the lower house, we will put forward a number of amendments to improve the legislation and provide real consumer protection, not a pale shadow thereof. The first amendment will be to make the Emergency Services Monitor a permanent position and not one that just conveniently ends a few months before the next election. We want to make sure the Emergency Services Monitor is put in place on a permanent basis, and we think everyone in the community should have a high degree of scepticism in relation to the market power that insurance companies have and the ability of regular people to be able to navigate that maze when exposed to very high increases in insurance premiums. Members of the Labor Party and the other place have had many representations about severe increases in their insurance premiums as a result of fire and flood risk and the like. And the fact is that these threats often have translated into significant increases in insurance premiums that people pay every year to insure their homes and their residences. This is a good opportunity to make sure that the bill sends a very clear message to insurance companies that there will be no gouging of customers permitted. The opposition also believes, and there's a further amendment, that will also require the Treasurer of the day, whoever he or she may be, to report the findings of the monitor to Parliament within 1 month of receiving the report, which is about transparency for members of this chamber, indeed of both chambers, who represent communities across New South Wales. Each member should be confident that when a Treasurer of the day receives a report from the monitor or deputy monitor, it will be made public and tabled in this Parliament so that all members of Parliament are informed, and indeed so is the wider community. So that's why we want to put that safeguard in place. The opposition also believes that a full public consultation and education campaign should be conducted before the transition to any levy commences, as was recommended in the 2011 Lambert report. The Lambert report comprehensively looked at a range of challenges within the state's finances and broader revenue and expenditure regimes, and recommended that public consultation be carried out before the implementation of any change to the levy is conducted. So we're concerned that we're starting the process not really knowing where it'll end up, or with a very clear idea about where we will end up. And of course the government could have avoided that by coming forward with its levy proposal ahead of this monitoring legislation. Our amendments are designed to improve transparency and to going a bit further than the bill does, to make sure that we have a permanent cop on the beat and to ensure that insurance premiums are kept at affordable and reasonable levels, including, and we also want to make sure that Parliament is informed about what is happening in relation to insurance premiums across the state. I'm sure that all members of Parliament, including those opposite, would appreciate being kept informed, given the impact and cost of insurance premiums on families in all of our communities. Our reforms in the amendments, which are now with the clerks, would increase protections for consumers, and we would invite the government to reconsider its intransigent position of rejecting our amendments out of hand in the other place, but to contemplate the sensible and appropriate amendments we advance. The fact that we engage constructively with this bill does not indicate any support for any future bill introduced into the Parliament about the levy itself. The Shadow Treasurer in the other place has indicated, as sensible legislators, as responsible alternative government, we will reserve our opinion until we see the text of any bill. Having said that, if our amendments are not accepted, we will not be supporting the legislation before the House.
Okay.